Hi, this is Charles Hoskinson from warm, sunny Colorado. Thank you all for coming to the Africa Special. This is one of my favorite events, and I think it's perhaps one of the greatest moments in my career as the CEO of Input Output. I started my company in February of 2015 with a dream of delivering economic identity to those who don't have it. The reality is the world lives still in two different configurations, one for the developed and one for the developing. In the developed world, there are many things we take for granted. The fact that it's easy for us to have an identity, passports, driver's licenses. It's easy for us to travel. It's easy for us to prove our creditworthiness and get credentials. It's easy for us to borrow money, get insurance, and to process payments. For example, if someone does a service for you, you can Venmo them something. You can send them a PayPal transaction. We take this for granted, and for the most part, it's part of our daily lives, just like breathing or drinking water. But when you live in the developing world, it's a very different prospect. It's very difficult to globalize. It's difficult to prove claims, whether you're producing something with fair trade or in a sustainable way. It's difficult for people to receive money and send money. These remittance transactions on average carry an 8 to 15% fee. When a person wants to borrow money, if it's even possible, these microfinance transactions can have interest rates as high as 85%, according to the World Bank. And the reason this exists is not because of avarice or because of racism or some unpronounced evil in the global order. Rather, it's because of systems. Some countries enjoy systems that are structurally superior to other systems. And the problem is that the legacy systems that we have are fundamentally incompatible with total globalization without admitting total centralization behind one standard, such as the American way or the Chinese way. The world is beyond that. This is no longer the 20th century. This is the 21st century. A century with the iPhone, a century with the internet, a century where information moves instantaneously. And as a consequence, we have a better way of governing the world order. We no longer need central entities. We no longer need central governments. Just like the internet, the things that can process our payments, our contractual relationships, hoist up our identity, our property, and permit the gears of commerce to work can be done through the very same technology that has enabled innovations like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. I started my company in 2015 with a first principles approach. We started with science. We built labs all throughout the world, hiring dozens of PhDs, and we wrote over 100 papers, many of which have been processed through the wonderful crucible of peer review. And citation after citation later, conference after conference later, journal after journal later, we've built out a corpus of scientific knowledge that has allowed us to understand how to build systems that can scale not just to millions, but inevitably to billions of users, and preserve a fundamental truth that we are all equal, and we all deserve access to the same marketplaces. Whether you're Bill Gates or the shepherd from Senegal, you should receive equal treatment and consideration and be given equal access to markets, and allow merit to be the differentiator, not geography or genetics. As a consequence of these years of effort and time that we've put in, we have been able to build great protocols like Cardano. And this special is not about aspirations. It's not about promises. This special is about delivery. For the past 4 years, our people have lived in Ethiopia and have traveled throughout the entire continent of Africa. Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Nigeria, Kenya, all around, South Africa. No matter where the winds would take them, the promises and commitments and dreams were the same. We had the desire to spread our vision of how we can change the way the world works, from the top down to the bottom up, pushing power to the edges and allowing people to be their own bank, allowing people to have their own identity. And today, this special is showing all of you the fruits of our labors over the past 4 years. The flagship of which is a deal that we have closed with the Ministry of Education containing 5 million students using a technology called PRISM integrated in the Cardano blockchain. Every one of these students will have a digital ID called a DID, and that DID carries with it metadata that will travel with them throughout their entire academic life, and like those who left Facebook's clutches of the university into the real world, will actually follow them into the economic world. So as they graduate, as they go into the economy, eventually this infrastructure can be used for property, for payments, for voting, and all other manners of their economic life. And what's beautiful about this evergreen deal is it's extensible. Our priorities and goals are directly aligned with the vision and priorities and goals of the Ethiopian government. In a recently published doctrine of Ethiopia 2025, there was a bold vision to digitize the country on 4 pillars, the first of which was a national ID system. It is our belief that the work we have done here with Prism and Cardano for these 5 million students will inevitably grow to be an inspiration and perhaps the system for 107 million Ethiopians, allowing them for the first time to globalize on equal terms with the United States, the European Union, China, and other modern developed economies. In addition to this system goes far beyond just identity. Our belief is that it can be used to help people procure jobs, to help people prove their skills, because the system can verify credentials, the system can verify certificates, the system can be used for a litany of activities which are required for people to understand who are credible actors to deal with and who have earned the right to have a job. Now, that's just Ethiopia. This special also includes our partners in Tanzania, the World Mobile, and partners throughout the continent. And each and every one of them have hopes and dreams about how to apply this technology. The magic of Cardano is, like Bitcoin before it, it's permissionless. It does not require someone to register or license something. It does not require someone to ask to use it. Rather, it's an open platform. And while these deals were spearheaded by Input Output Global and our partners, they serve as an inspiration for countless thousands of entrepreneurs throughout the continent to realize their dreams, their businesses, whether it be a decentralized Uber, whether it be securitizing a small company, whether it be a completely new way of representing resources in trade and commerce. It's an open piece of infrastructure accessible to all, for all, throughout the continent to be able to realize their dreams. Our industry's brought a lot of really cool innovations. NFTs, DeFi, STOs, ICOs, and all of these things, for the most part, have been based upon promises of a new world. I believe over the next 5 years, as this technology rolls across all of Africa and many other places in the world, such as Southeast Asia, Central Asia, Eastern Europe, that these promises can be transformed into completely new business models. All of these things are possible with the technology we've constructed, built with formal methods and advanced languages like Haskell for everyone, and validated by peer review. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for listening. And I love this celebration.